Let's go to the runway.
There's only one thing you should learn in economics. It's supply and demand. Let's use the market for strawberries to help us understand this concept. Up here on the y-axis, we have the price of strawberries. Down here on the x-axis, we have the quantity of boxes of strawberries. Let's start by looking at buyers and how they respond to a change in price. If the price goes up for strawberries, then some buyers will go buy blueberries or they'll go on that all-bacon diet. The point is, they're going to buy less strawberries. And if the price goes down for strawberries, then people are going to buy more. And this is called the law of demand. When the price goes up, people buy less. When the price goes down, people buy more. On the graph, it's shown by a downward sloping demand curve. Now let's think about sellers, like the farmer in the farmer's market. If the price of strawberries goes up, then that farmer will make more profit, so he'll have an incentive to produce more strawberries. If the price goes down, then he's not going to want to produce strawberries. That's called the law of supply. And on the graph, it's shown by an upward sloping supply curve. Now let's put demand and supply together. If the price is really high at $10, then producers would like to produce a lot of strawberries, but consumers won't want to buy them. This mismatch is called a surplus. And if the price goes down for strawberries, let's say down to $1, then buyers want to buy a whole lot, but producers won't have an incentive and they'll produce very little. Again, you have a mismatch, but this one's called a shortage. And there's only one price where the quantity that buyers want to buy is exactly equal to the quantity sellers want to sell. And it's right here where supply equals demand. The price is called the equilibrium price, and quantity is called the equilibrium quantity.
Okay, sure your graph makes sense, but the price of strawberries isn't always $3. Sometimes it goes up to $6. And at Whole Foods, local, artisanally grown strawberries, the fancy strawberries, can cost upwards of $12. But I guess Whole Foods is a whole other world where price has nothing to do with realistic economics. We'll stick to normal strawberries. In fact, the prices for all sorts of stuff change all the time. External forces can shift both the supply and demand curves, changing the equilibrium price and quantity. For example, let's assume that this graph shows the demand and supply of strawberries in the summer. What happens in the winter? Will the change in weather affect buyers' demand or producers' supply? Spoiler alert, it's supply. Colder temperatures make it harder to grow strawberries. The result is the entire supply curve is going to shift to the left. This is because at all possible prices, there would be fewer strawberries produced. That's it. This graph is just a tool that economists and everyone else use to show the results of a change in a market. I know it seems complicated at first, but there are really only 4 things that can happen in a market. Supply can decrease, supply can increase, demand can decrease, or demand can increase. Some people might want to talk about a price being fair or right. Well, that all depends on your point of view. The buyer always considers a low price to be a very fair price, while the seller considers it unfair, and vice versa. In general, economists don't really like to push opinions about prices. Voluntary exchange suggests that the price is there for a reason. For example, assume the demand for strawberries inexplicably falls, so the demand curve shifts to the left and the equilibrium price and quantity fall. Farmers might go to the government for assistance, but most economists would argue there is no reason to bail them out. The market's spoken. Strawberries are so over. Furthermore, if the government helps the farmers by giving them a subsidy, it would be putting resources towards something that society doesn't value. That would be inefficient. Luckily, every reasonable person on Earth values strawberries, so they continue to get produced.
Now the downside is the supply and demand model only applies to analyzing strawberries. No, I'm just joking, it applies to all sorts of stuff. In fact, let's look at a market for a commodity known for its volatility, both because of its fluctuating prices and because sometimes it explodes. Gasoline. Now when you see gas prices, they're moving all over the board. That's just demand and supply. For example, in 2014, the retail gas prices in the United States fell dramatically. Why? Well, it was demand and supply. The economies of both Europe and China weakened, which decreased the demand for gasoline, shifting the demand curve to the left. At the same time, new fracking technology and restored production of oil in Iraq and Libya caused the supply of gasoline to increase or shift to the right. The combination drove gas prices down by more than 40% per gallon. And that's it. Now you can tell all your friends you understand supply and demand. It's a big day for you. It's a big day.